My fingers slid down, right through Nora's thin shirt, tracing along her waist and cupping her curvaceous body. "Don't stop," she whispered, her lips relaxing against my neck, leaving wet kisses that I couldn't help myself from. Welcome back to our channel. In today's video, Jane continues to bring you an extremely interesting story called Julia Hoi Xuan. Please watch. Liam and I are classmates and very close to each other. We both have average academic performance, but are quite handsome and come from wealthy families. Liam is 175 tall and weighs 67 kg, almost the same as me. Liam's family only has his mother and sister, and I am the only child. Liam's father died early, leaving Liam and his mother a fortune enough to live comfortably for the rest of their lives. Meanwhile, my parents are managers for a state-owned company. I often go to Liam's house to play. Liam's mother and sister always treat me like family. I remember clearly it was a peaceful Saturday in the northern summer. I went to invite Liam to go swimming because his house had a swimming pool. Liam grinned when he saw me. "It's been days since I've seen you. My mom and Nora kept reminding me. It's so hot today. You want to go swimming, right?" I replied. "Then I'll come here, and then we can go sing tonight, okay?" "Gosh, why didn't you invite your friend in instead of standing outside?" Liam laughed and pulled me into the house. We walked to the pool in the back, where Nora was swimming in a pink two-piece swimsuit, her shoulder-length hair dripping wet and clinging to her soft shoulders. When she saw me, she smiled brightly. "Why haven't you been to my house for a while? Are you busy flirting with someone?" I smiled and replied, "If I can flirt with anyone, when will you give me wedding candy?" Nora giggled. "I'm so ugly, no one will marry me." Liam turned to me and said, "Let's see who's better at swimming today, Liam. I'll give you 1 lap." "I'll give you 2 laps before I play," I replied. We agreed that whoever lost would have to pay for the rest of the evening. After warming up, we both jumped into the water, kicking and paddling non-stop. Although Liam was only slightly ahead of me, the gap gradually widened. By the 4th lap, I thought I was sure to lose. But suddenly I heard Nora shout, "Cole won, Liam! I forgot to give you 1 lap." It turned out that I was the winner of that day's swim. At that time, I teased Liam. "Who told you to accept the challenge just now? Now you've lost and you still want to argue. Just admit defeat. Tonight's outing is on you, okay?" Liam frowned and didn't say anything more, accepting defeat. Hearing me mention going out, Nora from the side immediately said, "Can I go out with you tonight? It's so boring being home alone." I smiled. "Okay, but tonight we plan to go sing karaoke and have coffee. It would be more fun if you came." Liam was panting in the pool and then interrupted. "That's all you're good at. Every time you see us leaving, you want to follow us. But you know, after we finish singing, where else are we planning to go?" Nora pretended to be innocent. "Where are we going? After singing, we'll go home. Where else would we go?" Liam splashed water on my face and laughed. "Going out with girls! What else?" We both burst out laughing, while Nora blushed and glared at us. "I don't have anything like that to play with. You guys keep teasing me." We laughed even louder. Nora suddenly raised her face and sarcastically said, "If I don't have anything, can I go out with guys?" But I'm telling the truth. Playing with guys is more fun than you guys playing with girls. You guys are 1-on-1, but I'm 2-on-1 and still have no worries. Liam turned away, laughing and muttering, "I'm done with you." Then Liam turned back and asked, "Do you really want to go with me?" Nora smiled. "Of course. Can I come with you?" I looked at Liam and nodded. "Okay, let me go with you. Why are you so tense?" Just then Liam's mother came home, saw us laughing and joking, looked at us and asked, "You two are just playing together. Why are you arguing so loudly like this? Don't you know how to give in to each other a little?" I looked up and smiled. "Hello, Aunt Julia. You look so young in this silk aubaba today, like you're in your early 30s. Aunt Julia smiled and waved her hand. "Why do you keep flattering me? I'm 50 years old. How young am I to anyone? Compliment my daughter Nora. She's still young, but I'm out of date." I looked at Nora and teased. "No need to compliment her. She's beautiful just by looking at her." Aunt Julia laughed and patted me on the shoulder. "Cole, stay and have dinner with us today. It's been a long time since I've seen you." I happily agreed. "Okay, Uncle." We continued to play in the pool. I just leaned against the pool wall to rest, while Liam swam vigorously as if to relieve himself. At this moment, Nora came closer, sat next to me, and smiled mischievously. "What do you think of me? Am I as beautiful as before?" She laughed and played with the water. Her hand gently touched mine. The cool water made me startled for a moment. I looked at her and smiled lightly. "You're still as beautiful as before. Nothing has changed." Nora giggled. "It's not good to flatter people." Her words were accompanied by a teasing look that made me a bit confused. Under the water, her hand suddenly touched closer, but I just kept quiet and said nothing. The atmosphere became strange, but Liam in the distance still didn't know, continuing to swim in the lake. She looked at me with a completely different look, like a sister. I also realized that, but just smiled lightly, softly saying, "You still look beautiful like that. Nothing has changed." She laughed and teased, "Is it true, or are you flattering people again?" Her hand under the water suddenly touched me more closely, because it was under the water, so no one noticed. But we only dared to sneak around for fear that Liam would see. Nora leaned close to my ear and whispered, "Sleep here tonight. Come to my room at night. We sisters can consider each other. Understood." "Okay, I'll go help Mom." She left, leaving me with mixed thoughts. Liam and I swam a few more laps and then got up to eat. While sitting at the table, Liam said, "What's the point of having fun tonight?" I teased, "Calm down, Julia. I'll ask Nora to go out for you. You can rent a motel too. You can come back tomorrow. It's okay." Liam laughed and patted my shoulder. "You try to help me. I will make it up to you tomorrow." After we finished eating, we went out. Nora jumped into my car without asking Liam to drive. On the way, Nora tried to squeeze her 2 Indian grapefruits into my back, as if signalling to me that she was not wearing a bra. We went into a bar on Las Vegas Boulevard, Las Vegas, Nevada, and chose a room on the 2nd floor. I rarely sang, only Nora and Liam sang continuously. We called the waitress, but when we saw a woman singing for a while, Liam called me outside the door and whispered, "I ordered Norang. It will be here in about 10 minutes. Please help me take Nora somewhere else." I replied, "Okay, leave Julia alone." I turned back and winked at Nora. Nora and I walked out, not forgetting to tell Liam, "I suddenly have a headache. I'm going home first. Cole will take me home. You stay here and have fun. You don't have to go down." I took Nora home, but when we got to the pharmacy, she stopped there to buy some medicine before going home. I asked her what medicine she was buying, and she replied, "Oh, I bought some sedatives for my mother." When I took Nora home, her mother Julia asked, "Why are you back so early? Where's Liam?" Nora replied, "He's out with his girlfriend. You should go to bed early too." Nora made a glass of orange juice for Julia and opened a beer for her and me to drink. After Julia finished her glass of water, she went up to her room. Nora said, "Go up to my room." I hesitated. "What about Aunt Julia? Where did she go to bed?" She laughed. "Calm down, Julia. Your mother falls asleep quickly and probably won't know anything." I was confused. "You're really good, but what if Liam comes back?" Nora laughed and teased. If he goes like this, he won't be back until Tet. Come to my room. He won't be back until tomorrow morning. Nora pulled me up to her room, closed the door, and locked it. She hugged me and said, "This afternoon, you were so mean to me that I couldn't stand it. At that time, I only wanted you. At the swimming pool, I was also playing with your thing. What else? Just that is good enough. Already a great general?" Sister Nora hung her coat on the hanger. Inside, she was wearing only a thin camisole. Her body was slim and firm. Her plump, round breasts appeared before my eyes. I must say that she was extremely beautiful, extremely prestigious. "Nora, you look so beautiful like this, I can't stand it anymore. Please indulge me a little." "Slow down. Why are you making such a fuss? They're not running away. I'll give you a good time later. No visiting." And now comes the best part. Her light banana-coloured panties are so wonderful, oh so black and white. This is a young girl, so smooth and silky. Finally, the most important thing for a woman is her fertile, tri-sided plane. It's beautiful, oh so beautiful. It seems wet. Nora whispers, "I'll play the flute for you. Yours is so delicious, Cole, but why is it so big and long?" I smiled because it was the first time I was served by a beautiful girl, and she was my friend's sister, so she was trustworthy. "I thought you were just like this, but you also know this dish. Seeing that sullen face is really scary." "It's too late for you to know now. Well, creepy or not, I'll help you." "Sister, you are the most wonderful woman. Oh my gosh, you are so prestigious. Now it's done, that's all the general is good at." The two sisters happily ate ice cream for about 3 minutes. I almost gave Norang unconditional love. She whispered, "Come on, it's your turn. A strong young man like this must be good at that, right?" "Yes, let me please you. Let's get to work." And then it happened. This was my first time having sex with a woman. It was also Nora's first time, but it was only the first time being close to a man. As for self-satisfaction, she did it every day when she took a shower. Her teenage needs were so stuffy and uncomfortable. About 20 minutes later, we were done. Nora was embarrassed and blushed. She whispered, "That's all I'm good at. I don't know why there's so much. Let me go take my medicine." I was still ignorant and didn't know what medicine was, so I asked a very silly question. "You look like this. Why do you have to take medicine?" "Oh my gosh, birth control pills. You're asking me about it already. My period is almost here." Nora finished taking the pills and got back into bed next to me. The smell of shampoo from her hair made me feel so comfortable. She whispered to me, "Cole, have you done this so many times that you're so good at it?" "No, I only do it by myself." "I watched it in the movies. Have you done it a lot?" "But the clit is so big, and it's just like in the movies." "This is my first time. It must be my womanly instinct that makes me like this." "Yes, thank you, but am I angry with you? Am I bad?" "Sorry, baby." "Don't say that. I like you too. You make me so happy." I was surprised because I was her first, and she had never had sex before. She was still a virgin, but nothing happened when I had sex. I asked her again, making her sad. "Is this really your first time?" She was silent for a moment, a tear rolling down her cheek. "Yes." She knew she was too soft-hearted when she took the initiative to come to me, a guy who had never experienced life. That day in 11th grade, my grandmother's house had something to do. Thinking about it, that night I rode my bike across the field to my grandmother's house. Unexpectedly, I didn't have a flashlight, so I took a risk because I thought it was close to my grandmother's house. Unexpectedly, I just got to the rice field where people were harvesting, and in the afternoon, they still left the bamboo stakes on the bank. I rode my bike too fast and fell right where people put the rice, and the stakes to divide the field were planted upside down right on the bank. It was dark at that time, so I was injured and in so much pain. I screamed out loud. Luckily, my parents ran out to take me to the infirmary to get it bandaged. Luckily, I only suffered a minor injury, but that place of mine had to be stitched with 5 stitches to make it wider. Then life went on. I grew up and watched too many romantic movies, so I did it alone, so it widened a little more. Julia shared her suffering. She wanted her sister to sympathize. If you truly love me, don't pay attention to that, my sister. I was in tears. I knew I needed to cherish this girl more. She said, "You are my first time. Thank you for letting me know the taste of men, the taste of your life." We talked for a while longer and then fell asleep. The next morning when I woke up, I still saw Nora sleeping soundly with her head on my arm. I gently shook her and called, "Nora, wake up, it's morning. Let's go downstairs or else Liam will come back and we'll be in trouble." She smiled softly. "Leave Julia alone. My room also has a door to the guest room. You just need to gently push the cabinet open and you will see the door right away." I did as she said, and it was true. But as soon as I opened the door, I saw Liam there. I was surprised and didn't know what to say when Liam called me over and said, "Leave Julia alone. I won't tell anyone. Don't be afraid. Let's just let this go. What do you think of my sister, Cole? She looks delicious, right? Is that place okay?" I was confused and Liam continued to smile. "I've been wanting to find a girl like my sister for a long time. Seeing her in the shower and doing that makes me so sad." I could only reply, "Then you go find it. Maybe Nora will give it to you." Here is the full punctuation paragraph. "But how was the outing yesterday? Was everything okay?" It was okay. Yesterday I was still so naive. She was 17 years old. Norang was so wild and didn't know how to do anything. Everything was fine. Everything was good. You like it? He. It's not delicious, you know. Do you need me to give you her phone number? Okay, give me your number tonight. Did you spy on Nora taking a bath today? She's my girlfriend. I'm just afraid she won't allow it, but I really want to. She also has Julia. Tonight, just go into her room. Tell her all your Julia wishes. She will definitely please you. You'll see." "Okay, let's go to her room tonight and see how it is," I told Liam. But I was also sad, in case Nora, in a moment of weakness, fell in love with her brother and let him have a relationship. It would be terrible. Liam and I talked for a while and then went downstairs. Downstairs, Nora was preparing breakfast. Seeing me with Liam, she vaguely understood what was going on, so her face turned a little red with embarrassment. However, she still tried to speak normally and said, "You guys go wake up Mum to come down for breakfast. I've prepared it all." Liam ran upstairs to wake up his mother while I sat down at the dining table. Nora came to me and whispered, "What did you talk about with Liam this morning?" "It's fine, but Liam wants to do it with you." Nora was startled and blushed a little, but still said to me, "That bastard, I'm his older sister, and yet he dares to want to do that with me." "Yes, he, I thought you were its adoptive sister." "Well, I'm the eldest uncle's daughter, but my parents passed away when I was only 2 years old. Luckily, my uncle and Aunt Julia Michael raised me. Uncle Michael is my father's younger brother, and I'm Liam's cousin." "Oh, so that's how it is. At that time, I wasn't even born yet, so how could I understand that?" But I could see that she had some intention. She whispered, "Are you telling the truth?" "Since I haven't met you, I've had feelings for Liam, but it's a secret that I can't say. Many times before, I deliberately dressed revealingly in front of him, but he didn't dare to, he. He was afraid that I would scold him. Tonight, she's coming to your room. Don't worry. Tell her that we have nothing to be shy about." Both of them were a little sad. Neither of them wanted to lose their other half. If she really wanted to please Liam once, I couldn't stop her. Just then Liam and Aunt Julia came down. Aunt Julia looked quite beautiful in her pyjamas, even though she was in her 40s. Her body still showed off her beautiful curves. Seeing that we were ready, she said, "You must have waited for me for a long time, right? You should sit down and eat first. I have to go somewhere else." So Nora, Liam and I had to eat first. We ate and talked while eating. Nora lowered her head and didn't say anything, while Liam turned to Nora and asked softly, "Nora, can I sleep in your room tonight like when we were kids?" Nora blushed. How could I refuse? "We've been sleeping together since we were little." "Okay, but you're my little brother, so I don't mind. But why did you only tell me today? I've wanted you to sleep with me for a long time." Luckily, I knew it was a joke. Nora looked up and smiled, making us laugh too. After breakfast, we went out, even though we said we were going out. But we all went to the newly opened supermarket to buy some small Norang items for the family. It was almost noon. I said goodbye to everyone and went home. My mother was surprised because her son suddenly went shopping. "The sky must have collapsed today. Why are you suddenly so diligent? I wonder what you're asking me for." "Can't you help me buy the groceries?" "Mum, go prepare the food. I'm so hungry." I put the groceries away in the house and went out to eat. After finishing the meal, I climbed into bed and took a nap. I planned to wake up and go to Liam's house to invite Liam to play soccer. When I woke up, it was already 3:30 p.m. I got dressed and drove to Liam's house. Aunt Julia opened the door for me. "Liam and Nora went out and won't be back until late this afternoon. Come on in." "Well, Liam isn't home, so I'm going home." "Then can't you come in and play with me?" I reluctantly took my bike into the house and sat in the living room for a while. Aunt Julia brought me a glass of strawberry smoothie and said, "Drink this. It's much healthier than beer. Drinking too much beer is not good for you. I just consider you my own daughter." I took the glass of water from her and took a small sip. As soon as I put the glass down on the table, Aunt Julia sat down on the chair next to me and said gently, "Cole, I know what you and Nora did last night. I won't forbid anything, but next time you do something, you have to tell me." "So, do you know what Nora and I did?" Aunt Julia smiled. "Oh, you even tried to hide it from me." "Nora told me everything. She said it was so painful the first time." I asked in surprise. "What did Nora say?" Aunt Julia whispered shyly. "Well, he said yours is really big, hehe." I was really shocked by her words, because I didn't think she was such an open-minded person. She turned around and continued, "So what do you think about doing that with me? Last night I lived with Nora, but I'm Liam's mother. How can that be? Mothers and sisters are no different, right? Or do you think I'm old? I didn't mean to offend you. You look very young. Then drink a glass of water quickly and go to my room. I'm waiting." I didn't think things would progress so quickly and in this direction. Well, if I'm going, I have to go all the way. I finished my glass of water and went upstairs with Aunt Julia. As soon as I entered the room, she turned around and kissed me. She was quite tall, almost half a head taller than me. If she had been in the past, she would have probably competed in a beauty pageant. In the past, when I went to Liam's house to see Aunt Julia, I just thought she was my idol. Long legs, excellent white skin that didn't need makeup, especially her flirtatious eyes, always knowing how to look at other people's Julias. I respected her very much. But now, at this moment, she was the woman who took the initiative to get close to me. Then we exchanged sweet kisses. "Cole, I'm lonely, Cole. Please indulge me." Although he was in his 40s, he was still full of life. Seeing me so fascinated by Julia, he said, "You must really want to see my plan, right? You can tell by that eager face. Let me let you two fall onto the bed. His black panties were so beautiful, but they didn't have suspenders like Nora's. So, will you do it with me? I'm old, that's all people are, here. Yes, you know. Why do you ask? You're so hot. What do you think of me? I'm probably not as beautiful as Nora, right? Yes, that's right. It's not as beautiful as Nora's, but it's very attractive. Uncle, let me do it. You can feel free to do so. I'm lonely and needy. You have to visit me often. Yes, Ma'am Julia. Oh, yours is so beautiful. What wonderful 3 angles. Well, my uncle has neglected her for a long time, and she hasn't been hungry for a long time. That's why she's so plump and watery. Aunt Julia played the flute for me for about 2 minutes. Then we got to work. I admit that experienced women are different from young girls. Their technique is very good. The program is well arranged, with a beginning and an end. Overall, I would give my aunt 10 points for her performance of the police flute. It took almost 30 minutes to finish. Aunt Julia whispered, both blaming and praising. Hey, what a bad young man, even worse than an old woman. But never mind, your thing is big and long, so I will train you gradually. I'm sorry, you're so beautiful and Norang is delicious, so I couldn't help myself. Oh my gosh, son, you have to be strong, talk less, and do more. Just come here and study well, otherwise they will make you pay. We laughed at Norai's genuine humour. Aunt Julia ran into the bathroom while I sat cleaning up the battlefield. When I finished, I put on my clothes and went downstairs to talk to her. Come to my house for dinner tonight. I'm going home tonight. I slept at your house yesterday. But I have something important to do tonight, so if I can't stay, that's fine. Come visit me sometime. Nora is looking forward to seeing you. I smiled and said, You don't just have Nora, you also have me. Well, I'm home late. Aunt Julia saw me off at the door, smiling brightly. I felt quite tired after having to carry Aunt Julia for quite a while, but the feeling of happiness was unforgettable. When I got home, I jumped into the bathtub, turned on the water and lay down to rest. My mother shouted from outside, Where have you been? You're sweating like that and then you jumped right into the bathtub. Be careful not to catch a cold. Hurry up and shower. Mum needs something. I stood up, scrubbed myself roughly and went out to see what she said. Take Mum to Backnin tonight. Mum's not used to riding a motorbike. Dad's at work. Then Mum called Dad to come home. You two go together. I have something to do tonight. At this age, you make excuses when your mother asks you to help her. You must be hanging out with someone again. You're just talking nonsense. Just then, my father drove into the yard. My father said, What are you two arguing about? Do you need me to intervene? I'm home. Mum said, Dad can take you. It's fine. You two can go together for the sake of your feelings. My mum said, Please, you're just a busybody, and I'm not going to cook dinner. Take a few dozen and go have dinner, then come back, understand? My mum said that to me, then turned to my dad and whispered to him for a while. Then the two of them took off. A shocking incident happened when I was preparing to go to Liam's house. Inside the 2-story house, Mrs. Julia and her son were having a great time. With Mrs. Julia's flirtatious nature and lack of boyfriends, going to bed with her son was inevitable. It came from a very delicate reason, that is, about 3 years ago when Liam entered puberty, Mrs. Julia had bathed with him many times and then innocently cleaned him. Unfortunately, the desire for both mother and son was also high. Mrs. Julia saw something new and rolled her eyes, lost all reason, and had sex with Liam right in the bathroom. It was a rainy afternoon. Mrs. Julia came back from the market with all her clothes wet. The two of them took a bath together, which is why the incident happened. After that, the two of them were still shy to avoid each other. But the old husband did not come home once a year. When drunk, Mrs. Julia crept into Liam's room, and that happened a second time. For more than 2 years, mother and daughter have been having an affair without anyone knowing. Julia looks younger and more attractive every day. Back to reality, I drove into Liam's yard, put the kickstand down. Entering the living room, I heard Mrs. Julia's loud voice. I stopped and tiptoed to the door. The door was unlocked. A unique scene appeared, Mrs. Julia and Liam were both naked, doing sex. Luckily, it had just ended. "Oh my gosh!" Liam finished. Mrs. Julia rushed into the bathroom. Liam cleaned up the battlefield and went to the living room, saying to me with an embarrassed face, "Sorry, don't tell anyone about this, hey hey." Yeah, it's nothing. Why are you so reckless? This is your first time, right? Don't tell anyone about the sex we had today. Gosh, this is your first time. Julia has high needs, huh? Liam chuckled and said, "So how are things with you and Nora? Yesterday I went to Nora's room to sleep, but she just hugged me, didn't do anything. She said she didn't want you to be sad." "Oh, it's still normal. I haven't seen her for a few days." Aunt Julia had finished dressing, sat on the chair and talked to me. "I'm so lonely, so I asked Liam to help me a little. We're both mother and son in the house, and you and I understand each other so well." Liam was blushing now, but I said, "Not yet, Liam. Mum gave it to me. Why be shy?" "So how did things go with Nora yesterday?" Aunt Julia interrupted. "Liam, you're really good. You did it with your mom and now your sister too. You're such a jerk." "No, there's nothing going on between Nora and me. Who said Mom was a pervert? It's just my genes." We both laughed at Liam's words. Aunt Julia really had high demands. Just then, Nora came home. "What are you guys saying about us? Cole is here too. He hasn't been here for the past few days, making people sad and hating Cole." I chuckled because I didn't know what to say. Nora was my girlfriend now. Nora sat down, picked up her glass of water, and drank, her cheeks red and shy. Aunt Julia teased again. "Liam is tired. Why don't you help Liam and Nora? Is that okay, Cole?" I was a bit confused by Aunt Julia's somewhat rude request, but I answered frankly, "I can only help one of you. I'm afraid I can't handle helping both of you at once." Nora smiled and said to me, "Then help me, Cole. I haven't had any since yesterday." Nora said as she went down to sit next to me and got close to the boy. When Aunt Julia saw Nora doing that, she called Liam from the chair next to hers and said, "Liam, come here so Mommy can check on you. Seeing Nora and Cole like that makes Mommy can't stand it anymore." Hearing that, Nora said, "Why don't we go back to Nora's room, Cole, and let Mommy and Liam stay down here?" "Yes, that's fine." Nora and I went upstairs. She closed the door, and Liam and Mrs. Julia Naran sat on the sofa. After we finished doing it, we sat on the sofa and continued talking and laughing for a while. My sister and I took a shower and went to dinner. Aunt Julia and Liam continued to be in a mess that they couldn't get out of. Less than 2 months later, Aunt Julia's family moved to America to settle down. We were very attached to each other, but had to break up. I missed Nora and Aunt Julia's thing very much. So my first love with Nora ended here. Although it was sad, I had to try to study hard to have the opportunity to study abroad in America. Only that way could I see her again. Ladies and gentlemen, our story today will stop here. If you find this video useful, please like, share and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos when the channel airs. And now, goodbye and see you again.